The Haitian forces knew the land, every mountain, every river, every shadow. And from those shadows, an army of former slaves did the impossible. They shattered the greatest empires on earth: Spain, Britain, and the army of Napoleon himself.
They had been property, now they were soldiers, and they would die before they ever wore chains again.
This is the only time in all of human history that the enslaved rose up, defeated their masters, and built a free nation from the ashes. This is the story the world tried to bury.
Ayiti.
The Haitian Revolution.
Before Ayiti.
When most people hear the word Haiti, they think about poverty, chaos, earthquakes, political instability, but Haiti's story did not begin with suffering. Before slavery, before colonization, before the name Haiti even existed, this island was already alive. Civilizations lived here, trade existed here, culture and power existed here, and almost nobody tells this story correctly. Long before Europeans set foot in the Caribbean, the island had another name: Ayiti, Land of High Mountains. The island we now call Hispaniola, shared today by Haiti and the Dominican Republic, was home to the Taino people. And contrary to what many imagine, these were not primitive tribes wandering aimlessly. They built organized communities. They farmed cassava. They fished the coasts. They traveled between islands in giant canoes. They had leaders called caciques. They had spiritual traditions, music, ceremonies, art. An entire civilization already existed here. The Caribbean was never discovered. It was invaded, and everything changed when Europe arrived. In 1492, Christopher Columbus arrived in the Caribbean, searching for wealth and land for Spain. At first, the Taino welcomed the newcomers. But that peace did not last long. Spain wanted gold, labor, control. Very quickly, violence spread across the island. Taino people were forced into labor. Villages were destroyed. Diseases spread rapidly. Within decades, most of the Taino population disappeared. An entire world nearly erased, not by accident, by colonization. Eventually, France took control of the western side of the island. That colony became known as Ayiti, and surprisingly, it became one of the richest colonies on Earth. Sugar, coffee, cotton, Europe became rich from this island. But that wealth came from unimaginable brutality, because Ayiti depended on enslaved Africans.
Sugar, coffee, indigo, this little island will make France the richest empire on earth.
Millions were captured from Africa and forced into slavery across the Americas. And Ayiti became one of the harshest slave societies ever created. People were beaten, worked to death, treated like property.
We had names, we had our gods, we had a home. They took all of it and called us property.
But resistance never stopped. Secret meetings happened at night. African traditions survived. People escaped the plantations. Rebellions slowly grew. The enslaved population was preparing for something bigger, a revolution. At the same time, Europe was talking about freedom. The American Revolution happened. Then the French Revolution. Words like liberty and human rights spread everywhere. But enslaved Africans noticed something strange. Those freedoms rarely included them. So the people of Ayiti asked a dangerous question. If freedom is a human right, why not us? That question terrified the colonial powers. Because if enslaved people revolted successfully, the entire system could collapse. And soon, this island would shock the world forever. Haiti's story is not simple. It is painful, powerful, complicated. But one thing is certain. This nation was forged through resistance and survival. And in the next episode, we begin the uprising that changed world history forever. The Haitian Revolution.
Makandal.
In the 1750s, Ayiti was the richest colony on Earth, built on the cruelest slavery in history. And the masters who ruled it lived in terror of one whispered name: Makandal. He was born free in Africa, then stolen into slavery. But he was no ordinary man. He could read and write, he knew medicine and the secret power of plants, and he was a houngan, a Vodou priest. His arm was caught in a sugar mill, the brutal machine of slavery, and crushed. He survived, and as soon as he could, he fled into the mountains and never returned a slave. In the mountains, he found the Maroons, escaped slaves who lived free and fought back. They made him their leader. They followed him because they believed he was chosen, that he carried the power of the spirits. Makandal did not plan an open war he could not win. He chose a quieter weapon. Poison. A master of plants, he brewed poisons no one could trace and taught his followers to use them. He built a secret network across hundreds of plantations, a web of enslaved men and women loyal only to him. From hand to hand, his poison spread silently into the heart of the colony. Then the dying began. Masters, their families, their livestock, dropping in agony with no wound and no warning. For years, no one understood why. The richest colony on earth was gripped by terror.
Put the poison in their wine, in their bread. Tell them a slave did this. Tell them I am everywhere.
And the legend grew with every death. They said Makandal was no mere man, but a sorcerer who could not be killed, who could change his shape into any animal and vanish into the night. He gave his people a prophecy. He swore that one day the white masters would be driven from this island, and the black people they had enslaved would finally rise and be free. The colony descended into paranoia. The masters feared every cup, every meal, every shadow. They tortured the enslaved for answers, but no one broke. Makandal's web held. But in 1758, at a secret gathering of drumming and dance, he was betrayed. French soldiers came in the dark and seized him at last. The Phantom of the Mountains was finally in chains. They sentenced him to burn alive in the public square of Cap Francaise. They forced thousands of enslaved people to watch, to prove that this so-called God was only a man, and that he could die.
Burn my body if you wish. You can never burn what I have already begun.
But as the flames rose, the crowd swore they saw him break free of the post and transform. They erupted, screaming that Makandal had escaped, that he had become a fly and vanished into the smoke. The French swore he died in the fire. His people never believed it. The faith that Makandal lived on, unkillable, became a spark. And decades later, that spark would become the revolution that set Haiti free.
Bois Caïman, 1791.
It was the richest colony on earth, and the cruelest. 500,000 enslaved people worked to death so that Europe could grow rich on sugar.
How much longer must our children be born into these chains?
But in the mountains, the drums had already begun to speak. And on one stormy August night, deep in a forest clearing, the answer finally came. An enslaved priest named Boukman raised his voice above the fire.
The God of the white man calls him to crimes, but our God asks only for vengeance. Listen to the voice of freedom speaking in all of our hearts.
Beside him stood the priestess, Cécile Fatimon. She lifted the blade and the spirits came down.
Drink, swear the oath. Tonight we are free, or we are dead.
Liberty.
We rise tonight, all of us.
Days later, the entire northern plain was an ocean of fire.
Mon Dieu, the whole colony is burning. We are losing control.
The most powerful slave colony in the world had begun to fall, and it would never be whole again.
The chains break. The revolution begins.
In the late 1700s, Ayiti was the richest colony in the world. France made fortunes from sugar and coffee grown on the island, but behind that wealth was horror. Hundreds of thousands of enslaved Africans were forced to work under brutal conditions. Many died within years. Families were separated, people were tortured. Freedom did not exist, but something dangerous was growing beneath the surface. Anger, resistance, and soon the colony would explode into revolution. The enslaved population in Ayiti outnumbered the white colonists massively. The plantation owners lived in luxury, while the enslaved workers suffered endlessly in the fields. They worked from sunrise to nightfall. Punishments were brutal. Escape was almost impossible. But enslaved Africans brought more than labor. They brought culture, language, religion, warrior traditions, survival knowledge, and even under oppression they never stopped resisting. Some poisoned their masters, some burned plantations, some escaped into the mountains. These escaped communities became known as Maroons, and they kept the dream of freedom alive. By 1791, tension across the colony was reaching a breaking point. Then came one of the most legendary moments in Haitian history, a secret gathering at Bois Caïman. Hidden in the night, enslaved Africans met to plan rebellion. According to tradition, a voodoo ceremony took place. A spiritual oath was made: fight for freedom or die trying. Days later, the island erupted into flames. Plantations burned across the north. Slave owners panicked. The revolution had begun.
The whole northern plain is in revolt. The plantations are burning. Send for the army.
France never expected this. Neither did the rest of Europe, because enslaved people were not supposed to defeat empires. But the revolution spread rapidly. Thousands joined the uprising. Former slaves became soldiers. Generals emerged from the chaos, and the colonial system started collapsing.
We have tasted freedom now. We will die before we are ever made slaves again.
The revolution terrified slave-owning nations everywhere. America watched nervously. France feared losing its richest colony. Spain and Britain saw opportunity. Everyone wanted control of Ayiti. But the revolutionaries wanted something bigger. Freedom, real freedom. Out of the chaos, one man began rising above the others. A former enslaved man, intelligent, strategic, disciplined. His name was Toussaint Louverture. And soon, he would become one of the most powerful black leaders in world history. A man so dangerous, even Napoleon would fear him. The Haitian Revolution was no longer just a rebellion. It was becoming a war that could change the entire world. And in the next episode, we follow the rise of Toussaint Louverture, the man who transformed enslaved fighters into an army powerful enough to challenge Europe itself.
Toussaint Louverture.
The Haitian Revolution was spreading fast. Plantations burned, empires panicked, and the old colonial system was collapsing. But revolutions without leadership often fall apart. And then one man stepped forward. His name was Toussaint Louverture, and soon Europe would learn to fear him. Toussaint Louverture was born into slavery in Haiti around 1743. Unlike many enslaved workers, he learned to read and write. He studied medicine, plants, politics, and military strategy. People described him as calm, intelligent, and extremely disciplined, but nobody expected him to become the face of a revolution.
I was born a slave, but nature gave me the soul of a free man.
At first, Toussaint was not even one of the main rebel leaders. But while others fought with rage, Toussaint fought with strategy, and that changed everything. Ayiti became chaos. France, Spain, and Britain all wanted control of the colony. At one point, Toussaint even fought alongside the Spanish against France. But then something changed. France officially abolished slavery in its colonies in 1794, and Toussaint made a critical decision. He switched sides. Now he fought for France against Spain and Britain, and he proved unstoppable. Toussaint Louverture was not just a rebel. He was a brilliant military commander. He understood terrain, timing, and psychology. His forces moved fast through mountains and forests. European armies struggled in the tropical climate. Diseases destroyed soldiers. Supply lines collapsed. Again and again, Toussaint defeated stronger enemies. Britain lost thousands of troops trying to control the colony. France realized Toussaint was becoming too powerful to control, but they still needed him, because without Toussaint, Ayiti would explode again. Eventually, Toussaint became the dominant leader of Ayiti, and now he faced a different challenge. How do you rebuild a colony destroyed by war? Toussaint tried to restore the economy. Plantations reopened. Trade returned. But he also abolished slavery permanently. That alone shocked the world. A black man once enslaved was now governing one of the richest colonies in the Americas, and many European powers hated that idea, especially one man, Napoleon Bonaparte.
I want liberty and equality to reign across this whole island. It is the only peace I will accept.
Napoleon had massive ambitions. He wanted to rebuild the French Empire, and Ayiti was too valuable to lose, but there was a problem. Toussaint Louverture refused to surrender control, so Napoleon made a decision: send an army. A massive French expedition crossed the Atlantic. Its mission was simple: take back Ayiti, remove Toussaint, and restore French authority. And secretly, many feared slavery would return too. The stage was now set for one of the most important battles in history. Toussaint Louverture had transformed a slave uprising into a revolutionary government. But the most dangerous fight was still ahead, because Napoleon was coming. And in the next episode, we tell the story of how Haiti faced the most powerful empire on Earth, and won.
Napoleon's invasion.
Napoleon Bonaparte ruled Europe. His armies were considered unstoppable. His empire was expanding across continents. His name alone terrified nations, and in his mind, Ayiti was just another colony to reclaim. He was wrong, because across the ocean, a revolution had already changed everything, and Haiti was no longer willing to go back. Napoleon had a simple goal: restore French control over Ayiti, rebuild the plantation system, and if necessary, restore slavery. To him, the colony was too valuable to lose: sugar, coffee, wealth.
A nation of self-freed slaves is an insult to France. Remove this Toussaint, restore order by any means.
So in 1802, he sent one of the largest military expeditions France had ever assembled. Thousands of soldiers, warships, weapons, elite troops, led by his brother-in-law, General Leclerc. Their mission was clear: remove Toussaint Louverture, break the revolution, restore French rule. They expected a quick victory. They were walking into a war they didn't understand. At first, Napoleon used diplomacy. He promised peace. He promised stability. He claimed slavery would not return. Toussaint Louverture hesitated. He believed in order. He believed in rebuilding the land. He trusted negotiations, but Napoleon had already made his decision. The French were not coming to negotiate. They were coming to conquer. Once French forces landed, everything changed. The war became brutal. Toussaint's generals resisted fiercely. The terrain worked against the French. Tropical disease spread through the army. Thousands of French soldiers died from yellow fever alone. But Napoleon's forces kept pushing forward. Eventually, Toussaint was captured through deception. He was invited to a meeting under false peace talks, then arrested. He was taken to France, far from the land he fought to free, and locked inside a prison high in the mountains. Cold, isolated, forgotten, but his capture did not end the revolution. It made it stronger.
In overthrowing me, you have cut down only the trunk of the tree of liberty. It will spring again from the roots, for they are deep, and they are many.
The French thought removing Toussaint would end resistance. They were wrong again. Instead of collapsing, the revolution intensified. Former enslaved soldiers now had one clear message: freedom or death. One of Toussaint's former generals rose to leadership: Jean-Jacques Dessalines. He was different, more aggressive, more uncompromising, more determined. He believed negotiation was over. Only victory mattered now, and he prepared for total war. Nature became France's greatest enemy. Yellow fever spread through the troops. Heat exhausted the soldiers. Supply lines broke down. The Haitian forces knew the land. They used guerrilla warfare, hit-and-run tactics, mountain ambushes. The French army slowly collapsed. Soldiers died faster than they could be replaced. Even Napoleon's best generals could not stop it. One of the most powerful armies in the world was being destroyed by a revolution of formerly enslaved people. Napoleon came to reclaim a colony. Instead, he lost an empire. And in the next episode, the final decision is made. Haiti declares its independence and becomes the first black republic in the world, a moment that will shake global history forever.
The Polish defection.
In the Green Mountains of Haiti, there is a village where some of the people have pale skin, light eyes, and last names that are not African, not French, but Polish. To understand why, you have to go back to one of the strangest and most beautiful betrayals in history. It is 1802. The Haitian Revolution is raging. For 10 years, the enslaved people of Ayiti have been fighting and winning their freedom. But across the ocean, the most powerful man on earth has decided this freedom cannot be allowed to exist. Napoleon Bonaparte wants the colony and its slaves back. He assembles the largest expedition France has ever sent across the Atlantic. Tens of thousands of soldiers packed into a forest of warships bound for Haiti. And among those soldiers were thousands of men who did not even speak French. They were Polish. To understand them, you have to understand their pain. Because Poland, their homeland, had just been erased from the map of the world, carved up and swallowed by Russia, Prussia, and Austria. The Poles were a people without a country, scattered, conquered, and desperate to be free again. Napoleon made them a promise: fight for me, bleed for my empire, and one day I will give you back your Poland. so they followed him, anywhere. They believed they were sailing to put down a simple rebellion, a quick campaign in a distant colony. They had no idea what was truly waiting for them. When they landed, the beauty of Haiti stunned them. Turquoise water, emerald mountains, a paradise. And then the war began and the paradise turned to nightmare. This was no ordinary rebellion. This was an entire people who had broken their own chains and who would rather die than wear them again. Leading them was a man whose name struck fear into every French heart, Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Once enslaved himself, his back still scarred from the whip, Dessalines fought with a fury the French could not break and could not understand. The French commanders grew desperate, and desperation made them monstrous. To break the spirit of the Haitians, they unleashed pure terror. They burned villages. They executed prisoners by the thousands. They even brought attack dogs from Cuba, trained to hunt human beings. And the Polish soldiers were ordered to take part in it. To hunt down, to punish, to re-enslave a people whose only crime was wanting to be free. And something began to break inside them, because these men knew this story. They had lived it.
We were sent here to enslave them, but they fight for the same freedom we lost. I will not raise my gun against them.
They looked at the Haitians fighting for their homeland, for their freedom, against an empire that had crushed them, and they saw themselves. One Polish officer wrote it plainly. He said the Haitians were defending the same sacred cause the Poles longed to defend back home. Liberty. How could they re-enslave a people who were fighting for the exact freedom they themselves had been promised? They could not, and they would not. It started with small acts, a warning whispered, a prisoner quietly let go, a volley fired deliberately into the air over the heads of the enemy. And then it became something far greater. Polish soldiers began to desert, to lay down their French flag and walk across the line. They joined the Haitians. They picked up their muskets and turned them around, now fighting for the very people they had been sent to destroy. Imagine the shock of the French. Their own soldiers, the men they had carried across an ocean, now standing shoulder to shoulder with the rebels. But the Poles were not the only force destroying Napoleon's grand army. Haiti itself was fighting back with an invisible weapon, yellow fever. The tropical disease swept through the European camps like the wrath of the island itself, killing soldiers by the tens of thousands. The mighty expedition that had crossed the ocean to crush Haiti was being crushed itself, by fever, by fire, and by the unbreakable will of the Haitian people, of the thousands of Polish soldiers who had landed in Haiti full of hope. Only a few hundred would ever live to see Europe again. But the ones who had crossed the line, the ones who chose Haiti, were about to become part of something the world had never seen. On November 18, 1803, at the Battle of Vertières, the Haitian army shattered the last French force. Freedom had won. On the 1st of January 1804, Dessalines stood before his people and declared it to the world. Haiti was free, the first black republic on earth. But Dessalines did not forget. He had seen who stood with his people in their darkest hour, and he had seen who stood against them. When he wrote the new Constitution of Haiti, he made a fierce law. No white European could ever again own land in Haiti or call himself a master here. But to that law he carved out an exception, a door left open for a special few. The Polish soldiers who had refused to enslave them, who had fought and bled for Haiti, would not be treated as enemies. They would be welcomed as brothers.
These white men chose to bleed for our freedom, so let it be written, they are Haitian now.
In the law of the land, Dessalines declared that the Poles and the few Germans who had also defected were to be considered Haitian. They were called officially black. Think about what that means. In a nation born from the fight against slavery, the highest honor was to be called one of its own, and these white foreigners earned it. Many of them stayed. They could not return to a Poland that no longer existed, so they made Haiti their home. They settled in the mountains, in villages like Cazale and La Vallée and Fond des Blancs. They married Haitian women. They raised Haitian children. And over the generations, their blood became part of the blood of Haiti. The Polish soldier became the Haitian grandfather. That is why, to this day, in those mountain villages, you will find Haitians with lighter skin, with blue or green eyes, and with Polish family names. They are called the Polonais-Haïtiens, the Polish Haitians, the living descendants of soldiers who chose the right side of history 200 years ago. Their story is not a footnote. It is one of the purest examples of human solidarity the world has ever produced. Two peoples an ocean apart who had both been crushed by empires. And when they finally met on a battlefield, they refused to be each other's enemy. The Poles came to take Haiti's freedom away. Instead, they helped defend it, and Haiti gave them a freedom of their own. A home, a family, and a name. Napoleon's empire would fall and be forgotten in the dust of old wars. But this bond, forged in the mountains of Haiti, still lives in the faces of real people today. It is proof of something we must never forget. That even when the powerful command us to be cruel, ordinary people can choose to be brave instead. The Polish soldiers of Haiti listened to their conscience instead of their orders. And because they did not die as conquerors. They live forever as brothers. This is the story of the brothers Haiti never forgot. If it moved you, share it so the world remembers them too. And if you want the next forgotten chapter of Haiti's incredible history, subscribe to The Truth Before History and let us uncover it together.
Independence, 1804.
After years of war, betrayal, and unimaginable sacrifice, the revolutionaries stood victorious. The French army was defeated, Napoleon had failed, and a new power emerged from the ashes of slavery and colonization. Haiti, the first black republic in the world. Jean-Jacques Dessalines led the revolutionaries with relentless force. He understood one truth: the French must be driven out completely. The battles were brutal, cities burned, plantations destroyed, but every victory brought Haiti closer to freedom. By late 1803, the revolutionaries had defeated the last French troops. Victory was finally within reach.
Tear the white from their flag, we keep the blue and the red. The white has no place in our nation.
On January 1st, 1804, Jean-Jacques Dessalines stood before the people. He proclaimed to the world, Haiti is free. The name Haiti honored the Taino heritage of the island, a proud reminder of the people who lived here long before Europe arrived. This declaration was more than politics. It was a declaration of humanity, freedom, and a challenge to an entire world built on slavery.
Long live freedom, long live Ayiti.
Haiti faced enormous challenges. The economy was shattered, infrastructure destroyed, enemies still plotted from Europe. But Dessalines and the revolutionaries focused on defending the nation, establishing laws and governance, and preserving freedom at all costs. And though mistakes were made, Haiti's independence sent a powerful message worldwide. Slavery could be defeated, freedom could be claimed, people of African descent could govern themselves. The world was shocked. European nations feared the precedent Haiti set. Slaveholding countries worried about uprisings. And yet Haiti survived. Its independence inspired enslaved populations across the Americas. Its story became a symbol of hope, a proof that revolutions could succeed. Haiti's birth was not just the end of a revolution. It was the beginning of a story that would echo for centuries. And in the next episode, we explore Haiti's first years as a nation. The challenges, the leadership struggles, and the efforts to build a free society against impossible odds.
The first years.
Winning freedom was only half the battle. In 1804, Haiti stood as the first free black republic on earth. But the most powerful nations in the world did not want it to exist. Slaveholding empires saw Haiti as a dangerous example. And so the newborn nation faced a terrifying question. How do you build a free society when the entire world is hoping you fail? Jean-Jacques Dessalines, the general who had crushed Napoleon's army, became Haiti's first ruler. In a bold and defiant act, he crowned himself Emperor Jacques I. He carried one obsession above all others. Never again. Never again would his people be enslaved. Dessalines was certain the French would come back to re-enslave them, and for decades that fear was real. So he turned the entire country into a fortress. Mountain strongholds, coastal defenses, an army always ready. Freedom, he knew, would have to be defended with iron. But Dessalines also made a dark and brutal decision. Fearing the remaining French colonists would betray the young nation and bring back slavery, he ordered many of them killed. It remains one of the most debated chapters of Haiti's story. A ruthless act, born from a people who had survived unimaginable cruelty and were terrified of losing the freedom they had bled for. Dessalines ruled with an iron hand. He tried to force discipline and rebuild a shattered economy, but he made powerful enemies among Haiti's new elite. In 1806, just 2 years after independence, he was ambushed and assassinated by his own rivals. The father of Haitian independence was dead, and the nation he built nearly tore itself apart. After Dessalines fell, Haiti split in two. In the north rose a kingdom. In the south, a republic, 2 leaders, 2 visions of what a free Haiti should become, and for years they would rival each other for the soul of the nation. In the north ruled Henry Christophe, a former enslaved man who crowned himself King Henry I. He demanded discipline and grandeur. He believed Haiti had to prove to the world that black people could build something magnificent, and he was about to build proof that still stands today. Christophe built the Citadelle Laferrière, a colossal mountaintop fortress, one of the largest ever raised in the Americas. Its walls climbed 40 meters high, bristling with hundreds of cannons built to crush any French army that dared to return. Tens of thousands labored to raise it. It was a monument to a single, unbreakable idea. Haiti would never kneel again.
We will raise a fortress on the mountain, so vast no empire would dare to climb it. Let France try to come back.
He also built the magnificent Sans-Souci Palace, along with schools and a strict, disciplined economy. His kingdom was orderly and powerful, but his rule was harsh, and many came to resent the heavy hand that demanded their endless labor. In the south, a very different leader rose, Alexander Pétion. Where Christophe demanded grandeur, Pétion gave the people land. He broke up the great plantations and handed plots to ordinary Haitians and his soldiers. They called him Papa Boncoeur, the good-hearted father. His Haiti was poorer but freer in spirit.
Give the land to the people. Every free man must own the ground beneath his own feet.
Then, in 1815, a desperate and defeated revolutionary arrived on Haiti's shores. His name was Simon Bolivar, a man dreaming of liberating South America from the Spanish Empire. He had been beaten, exiled, and had nowhere left to turn. Pétion took him in. He gave Bolivar weapons, ships, soldiers, supplies, even a printing press. And he asked for nothing in return except one thing, that Bolivar free the enslaved people in every land he liberated. Haiti, poor and surrounded by enemies, chose to export freedom. Bolivar would go on to help liberate 6 nations. The first free black republic helped free a continent, a debt the world rarely remembers. But the great powers had not forgiven Haiti for defeating slavery. The United States, still a slave-holding nation, refused to even recognize Haiti for nearly 60 years. European powers blockaded its trade. The world tried to strangle the free republic in its cradle. Then in 1825, French warships appeared off the coast once more, and France made a stunning demand. Pay 150 million francs, a staggering fortune, to compensate the former slave owners for their lost property. In other words, Haiti would have to pay France for the people France had once enslaved. Under the threat of invasion, Haiti agreed. It became a crushing debt that drained the nation for over 100 years. Deep into the 20th century, the world had found a new way to punish Haiti for being free. Through all these years, the divided nation slowly came back together. After King Henry Christophe, facing illness and revolt, took his own life in 1820, the leader Jean-Pierre Boyer reunited North and South into a single Haiti once more. For a time, he even unified the entire island. Against every prediction, Haiti endured. Think about what these people accomplished. They had been enslaved. They defeated the most powerful empire on earth. They built kingdoms, republics, fortresses, and schools. They helped liberate other nations. And they did all of it while the entire world worked to see them fail. That is not weakness. That is some of the most extraordinary strength in all of human history. Haiti's first years were chaos and brilliance, division and defiance, tragedy and triumph all at once. The nation had survived against impossible odds, but the crushing debt, the isolation, and the enemies who feared its example would cast a long shadow over the centuries still to come.
Haiti saves Latin America.
Every schoolchild in South America knows the name Simon Bolivar, the liberator, the man who freed a continent, but almost no one knows the secret of how he did it. Because that secret begins on a small black island the world tried to erase, Haiti. To understand the secret, we have to go back to a moment when the dream of a free South America was already dead. It is 1815. For years, a fiery revolutionary named Simon Bolivar has fought to free South America from the Spanish Empire, and he is losing. Badly. The mighty Spanish Empire has crushed his armies. His cities have fallen, his allies have abandoned him. Everything he built lies in ruins. Defeated, hunted, and broke, Bolivar is forced to flee his homeland into exile, with nothing left but his life. He sails from port to port across the Caribbean, begging the great powers for help. And every single door is slammed in his face. Britain refuses him. The United States, a nation built on slavery, wants nothing to do with a man trying to free colonies. He is utterly alone. There is only one place left. One nation that might understand the dream of breaking chains. The only free black republic on the face of the earth. So Bolivar turns his ship toward Haiti. But Haiti in 1815 was no safe haven. It was young, poor, and surrounded by enemies who wanted it destroyed for the crime of being free. Helping a foreign rebel against a European empire could bring catastrophe down on the fragile island. It was a terrible risk. And yet, the man who led Haiti would not turn his back on someone fighting for freedom.
I will give you ships, weapons, soldiers, and I ask for nothing in return. Only this, in every land you free, you must end slavery.
His name was Alexander Pétion, a hero of the Haitian Revolution, a man who had been born into a world of chains and had given his whole life to breaking them. Pétion welcomed the defeated, penniless Bolivar not as a beggar, but as a brother in the same great cause. Bolivar poured out his story, the lost battles, the shattered armies, the dream of a free South America now in ashes. And then he asked the impossible. He asked Pétion to help him relaunch a revolution to free a continent he had never even seen. Pétion listened to every word. And then this poor leader of a poor and threatened nation made a decision that would change the world. He gave Bolivar everything: ships to carry an army, thousands of rifles, barrels of gunpowder, money to pay his soldiers. He even gave him a printing press, so the revolution could spread its message in words as well as in fire. And he gave him Haitian soldiers, free black men who would sail across the sea to fight for the freedom of strangers. It was a breathtaking gift, enough to bring an entire dead revolution roaring back to life. And in return, Pétion asked for only one thing. He did not ask for gold. He did not ask for land. He did not ask for power or fame or a single coin in return. Alexander Pétion asked Simon Bolivar for one promise: that in every nation he freed, he would abolish slavery and set the enslaved free. Think about what that means. The leader of a black nation setting the price of his help and demanding it be paid in the freedom of others. It is one of the noblest acts in all of human history. And Pétion made one final humble request: that his own name be kept secret. He wanted no monument, no glory. He wanted only the end of slavery. With Haitian ships beneath his feet, Haitian guns in his hands, and Haitian soldiers at his side, Simon Bolivar sailed back toward the mainland. Reborn. At first, the road was still brutal. His first expedition stumbled, and he was forced to retreat all the way back to Haiti. And once again, without hesitation, Pétion took him back in, resupplied him, and sent him out a second time. Haiti's faith in him never wavered. This time the fire caught. This time the revolution would not die. Bolivar's armies swept across the continent, defeating the Spanish Empire in battle after impossible battle. He marched his army over the frozen, impossible peaks of the Andes to strike the Spanish where they least expected. And true to his sacred word, as he liberated each new land, Bolivar moved to abolish slavery, exactly as Pétion had asked. Land by land, the Spanish Empire crumbled before him. Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Panama, Peru, and a nation that would carry his very name, Bolivia. 6 nations, tens of millions of people, an entire continent set free. And it had all been made possible by a small, poor, isolated black republic that asked for nothing but the freedom of others. Haiti had done this while the world was still trying to strangle it, while empires refused to even speak its name. A nation that had only just torn off its own chains turned around and helped a stranger tear the chains off of a continent. But here is the cruelest twist in this whole story. Pétion's wish to be forgotten came true, far too well. History gave nearly all the glory to Bolivar. The Haitian gift that saved him, the Black Republic that relaunched his revolution, was quietly erased from the textbooks.
Whatever freedom comes to this continent, it began here. I owe my victory to Haiti.
Pétion himself never lived to see the full triumph. His gentle heart, worn down by the weight of leading, gave out in 1818. He died beloved by his people and unknown to the world. For 200 years, few people outside Haiti even knew that the great liberator of South America was himself rescued and rearmed by free black Haitians. But the truth does not need a monument to be true. Without Haiti, there is no second chance for Bolivar. Without Haiti, there is no second expedition. Without that second expedition, the Spanish Empire likely holds South America for generations more. The map of an entire continent looks the way it does today because of one decision made by one humble black president on one small free island. A nation that had just freed itself turned around and helped free millions more, and asked for nothing but their freedom in return. In South America, a few have begun to remember. Some now call Alexander Pétion a father of their freedom, too. Haiti gave the world its greatest gift and asked only that others be given what it had fought so hard to win: freedom. This is the gift Haiti gave to Latin America, one of the greatest and most hidden acts of generosity in the history of the world. Haiti saved Latin America. Now you know the secret. If this story moved you, subscribe and help us give Haiti the credit the world tried to bury.
The Indemnity.
Haiti did the impossible. An army of formerly enslaved people defeated Napoleon and built the first nation on earth founded by those who freed themselves. It should have been the beginning of a golden age. Instead, it became the beginning of a punishment that would last more than 100 years. This is how the most heroic nation in the world was robbed of its future. It is 1825. Haiti has been free for 21 years. Its markets are full, its land is rich, and its people are proud. But something is terribly wrong. Out at the harbor, the docks sit half empty. No great trading ships come. The world is pretending Haiti does not exist. The world's great empires are terrified of Haiti. A nation of free black people who beat their masters and won is a threat to every slaveholding power on earth.
150 million gold francs, that is the price of your independence. Pay it, or our warships return.
So they choke Haiti with silence. No trade, no recognition, no place in the family of nations. They want the great Black Republic to wither and die alone. Leading Haiti through this storm is President Jean-Pierre Boyer. He has united the entire island under one flag, and he aches for the world to finally accept his country. Boyer believes that if Haiti can just be recognized by a single great power, the others will follow, and the blockade of silence will finally break. So when word comes that France, Haiti's old enemy, is finally willing to talk, Boyer dares to hope. Maybe at last, peace and recognition have come. But France was not coming in peace. France was coming to collect. On a July morning, the people of Port-au-Prince look out to sea and their blood runs cold. The horizon is filling with warships. 14 French warships, bristling with hundreds of cannons, drop anchor in a great arc across the bay. Their guns turn slowly to face the city. 500 cannons aimed at a sleeping city. It was not a visit. It was a threat written in iron and gunpowder. From the flagship, a longboat is lowered. A French nobleman steps ashore carrying a sealed royal decree. His name is Baron de Macau. The decree is signed by His Majesty King Charles X of France. And in it, France finally offers what Haiti has longed for: recognition. But there is a price. Boyer's ministers gather to hear the terms. And as the decree is read aloud, the hope drains from every face in the room. France demands that Haiti pay 150 million gold francs. Compensation, the king says, to the former slave masters for their lost property. Sit with that for a moment. Their lost property meant the human beings who had freed themselves. Haiti was being ordered to pay its former enslavers for the crime of becoming free. 150 million francs was a fortune beyond imagining. It was more than 10 times everything the entire nation of Haiti earned in a single year. It was a number designed to be impossible. France did not want Haiti to pay. France wanted Haiti to drown or to be destroyed for refusing. And if Haiti refused, Baron de Macau made it plain. The 14 warships in the bay would open fire, level the cities, and France would try to drag Haiti back into slavery. President Boyer faced the most agonizing choice any leader can face. Risk the destruction of everything his people had bled for, or bow to an unjust ransom. His army was strong, but it could not fight 14 warships and the full might of France at once. To gamble was to risk his entire people, so he made the only choice he believed could save them. He signed. With one stroke of a pen, to save his people from cannon fire, Boyer chained their future to France. But the cruelty did not stop there. Haiti did not have the money. To make even the very first payment, the nation was forced to borrow it from French banks. It was a perfect trap. Now Haiti owed France the ransom and owed French banks the loan it took just to begin paying the ransom. A double chain of gold. And so it began, the slow, relentless draining of a nation. Money that should have built Haitian schools was loaded onto French ships instead. Money that should have built roads and hospitals crossed the sea to enrich the very empire Haiti had defeated in battle. To find the gold, Haiti taxed its own people into hardship. Farmers, merchants, mothers, everyone gave and gave and gave. A whole nation working itself to exhaustion, not to grow rich, but simply to pay for a freedom it had already won with its own blood. Years passed, then decades. France graciously lowered the ransom to 90 million francs as if that were mercy. But with the crushing bank interest piled on top, Haiti kept paying. An entire generation was born, lived, and died under the weight of the debt. And still it was not paid. The richest colony France had ever owned should have become a rich and powerful nation. Instead, it was deliberately bled pale before it could ever stand on its feet. Through it all, the people of Haiti held their heads high. They had defeated empires. They would not be broken by a debt, no matter how cruel. Again and again, Haitians demanded that the injustice be undone. Again and again, France looked away and pretended it had never happened. The payments dragged on past the 1800s into a new century, into the age of cars and electricity and telephones. And still, Haiti paid. It was not until 1947 that the very last payment was finally made. Stop and count it. 122 years. It took Haiti 122 years to finish paying for its own freedom. By the time the chain was finally broken, the damage was done and it was permanent. A nation that should have grown strong and wealthy had been kept poor on purpose for over 100 years. The theft did not happen in a single day. It happened slowly, legally, with a signature and a smile. In our own time, economists finally tried to measure the true cost. The wealth taken from Haiti, with interest, was worth over $20 billion. $20 billion. Stolen not by an invading army, but by the threat of one. Taken not in a war, but by a single cruel demand. For generations, the world simply did not know this story. It was left out of the textbooks. The greatest financial crime against a free nation, quietly buried. But the truth has a way of surviving. And today, more and more of the world is learning what was done to Haiti. Modern Haitians and people of conscience around the world now demand that France return what it took. So far, France has refused. Remember what Haiti was, the nation that defeated Napoleon, the nation that armed Bolivar and helped free South America, a beacon of freedom for the whole world. And remember what was done to it. For the crime of being free, it was forced to buy that freedom all over again, in gold, for 122 years. Haiti won its freedom on the battlefield, with courage the world had never seen. And then, at gunpoint, it was robbed of the future that freedom should have given it. This is the story they tried to keep hidden. Now you know it. If the truth matters to you, subscribe and share it, because a debt this unjust should never be forgotten, and it is not yet repaid.